Hello and welcome into Sorare with Laird. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdino on Sorare. Joined today by PSU fans 2, who everyone has been asking for. Sean, they were like, how could you possibly do a update announcement without PSU fans 2? And I was like, he was invited and you were away. And then today I was like, hey, you want to come on Monday? And you were like, I'm free today. And I was like, let's just do today. So welcome.
Yeah, was that the first update that you've done without me on in like 4 years?
I
Like a
have no
legit
idea.
update.
Yeah, I assume so, but I have no idea.
I can't imagine that I wouldn't have been on one of them. So like I would imagine it was the case, but what a great update that was.
So we're going to get into it. Thanks everyone for coming in. As you all know, everyone who is in right now in the live chat with James, Anion, and Philly Dilly on the podium with I was supposed to read this like The Rock. Hold on. I don't know if I can do this justice is the problem. I'm not even going to try. But if you could read this, finally PSU has come back to Laird. And then he said, get their ass, PSU. We're all counting on you, which I don't know. Maybe we'll see how Sean really feels about everything. But anyway, James, Anion, Philly Dilly on the podium. Congratulations to you three. Don Q, what's up? Dobbsy, Sorare Soul, Philly Dilly. I voted. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. The poll in the live chat was if you like the stream, and then the second vote, the answers were yes, and the second one was, oh shit, PSU fans 2 is here. And so that was the vote. Nice. Mikey Baston, what's up? Was it an update or a down date? That's a funny play on words there.
Valid.
Yeah. So, Sean, we're going to talk about Sorare 26, and then we're going to talk about the update to Sorare 26 that happened today, because there is a lot in there that we have to get through. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I'm not going to do that. But how much of your response to Sorare 26 was about super rare and unique versus everything else?
So I think I actually explained this to people, but I think the super rare and unique update was so bad that it overshadowed the dog shit other stuff from like my perspective. Like I read it, I was like, holy shit, that's bad. Then you get to the unique and the super rare stuff, and you're just like, oh my fucking God, that stuff isn't even comparable. So like they just put like a big pile of poo, and then on top of it, they like threw like 85 piles of poo on top of that one pile. So it sort of like covered that one up a bit.
So the reason I ask that is because I think it's universally accepted or universally agreed upon that the super rare unique update is bad.
Actually, Dream Villain is the one human being on the planet that didn't think it was bad.
Okay, so we have one.
That's the only one I got for you.
But in fairness, I even like tweeted something like this, that what I really don't like about like the Sorare community, I hate to like put it that way, was like when you and like your 5 friends that you talk about Sorare with all feel something together, and you're just like, oh, everyone feels this way.
Yeah.
So I don't like to say that like everyone hates it, but it felt like a lot of people just saw the super rare and unique and they were like, I don't play. So it was a wonderful combination of the people who play super rare and unique and the people who don't. And they were like, that's really bad.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to think of it as like from my perspective of someone who does not play unique. And I'm like, well, I play unique now. Is this good for me? And I still really haven't gotten to the point where even if you just play super rare and now have access to prizes that were previously only given to people who play unique, I still don't feel super positive about it.
Yeah. Anion said Tofturn seems to like it as well. He bought some uniques after the update. I don't know what he's doing. I did see that, and he is definitely the new leader in the positivity around Sorare department. Bellama has relinquished his like 3-year-long title, and Tofturn has definitely taken the reins to that. But Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to talk about it on the show as a whole, but it was definitely a thing where like those are the only two human beings who I think like the update, and we will discuss some overall stuff as we go. But like I have a few comments to make before we go into everything as a whole. So, first comment, one of which I've seen you post a lot about. This was like the first like couple week stretch where we've not had SorareData. And basically the way I describe it is I think Sorare is pretty functional right now from a like lineup setting perspective. And it like at least is doable to like find a game, see a score or something. Like it's doable. My issue from that perspective is everything is just worse than what it was. So like you basically just downgraded
The couple week stretch, by the way, yeah, it's 8 days.
a couple weeks. That's a couple weeks. And Sorare term, that's like months.
It's 2 months, yeah.
But yeah, so like I just want to say from a perspective of the update, because I do think it plays into some of this stuff. We now only have Sorare to use. And basically what we did is we just like everything's worse. It sucks because it's just like, yeah, I think it's usable. I know you've like called people out for being like, oh, it's not functional, not usable on Twitter. And I agree with you. But at the same time, it would be like it's like anything where you just like, okay, like you have new technology to use on something, and then they're just like, okay, we're gonna revert back to like 3 updates ago, and that's now your new thing. And it stinks from that perspective.
So our good friend Keith made a comment kind of about the feedback of everyone that's like, oh yeah, like Sorare's is better, but it's just not as good as SorareData.
Yes.
And he was like, that's literally why people pay for SorareData. Like
Correct.
You paid for something better. And
Correct.
Obviously it wasn't either they didn't charge enough or not enough people paid for it. But like his kind of response was like, of course it's better because you're paying for better.
Correct. Which
and
I mean,
now
that
we're
is
getting it for free. And it's like, this is what you get for free.
Like I will say I was so disengaged. Here's the first of my 2 funny stories for you for this week. I had no fucking idea the deadline changed. That's how disengaged I was. Harry and I were messaging, and he said something about the deadline being changed when I was out of town in Denver this week on Wednesday. And Wednesday I was flying home, and Harry's like, "Oh yeah, we got Sorare because we had to set up our Footium stream for today." And so he's like, "Oh, we can do it at 10 a.m. on Friday." I'm like, "All right, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, there's no Sorare deadline on Friday, so we can just do it." I'm like, "What?" I had no idea. I had no clue. Could you imagine finding me having no clue there was a Sorare deadline change?
So yes, like that is very surprising, but also like you have been, I wouldn't say disengaged, but you've kind of been very open that you're like, you've turned quite apathetic about Sorare recently.
Yes, I don't want to be. They
Sure.
sort of forced it upon me. And then the second comment from that, I literally downloaded the SofaScore app because it's just an easier way to see guys. Like, and the scoring isn't. So it's just like me to find one thing on Sorare versus SorareData is like 10 clicks versus 1. And it's like, it's not even about like getting used to it. It's about, it just is worse. And so that is a difficult thing to come to. And then the second thing, which this is just the overall comment I have that I think comes into the apathy with things. And it's a 2-part thing. The second part will be the humor I have from it. There is just such a never-ending goalpost movement. Always. It's always a new goalpost movement from Sorare that is just like, and it's always worse, like knock on wood, but like it is typically always worse. And it's just like every year, every time there's a massive update of some kind, it is a huge shift in what you thought you were doing. Like, great example of this one. All these people bought Japan guys to use in contender all season for an in-season. All of a sudden that's gone. And like you don't have that ability. Or like they buy classic cards to use in Premier League Classic last year. Like I bought a Rodri the other day, like 2 weeks ago, to prepare. And you guys wouldn't know that because SorareData doesn't exist. So you probably have no clue that I did that. But like I bought that card because I wanted to have at least a good option in Premier League Classic. All of a sudden, it just gets removed and it's gone. And you buy like Dutch guys for Challenger, then boom, it's gone. And it's like it's a constant change of goalpost movements. And that to me is the biggest overall problem with things, is like it just is never ending. And then the other problem I had with this that was funny, I forget what I was going to say with it though, but it was a funny thing. You talk for a second and I'll see if I can remember what it was. It was funny.
So I think
I got it back. Let me read. Sorry.
Go.
I remember. The funniest thing about this update, and I think you will find this funny, I legitimately think this update could have been this, and everyone would have been like, oh, okay, that's solid. And I think you'll agree with it. If the update was, hey guys, we're not changing anything, I think people would have been happy.
I think that ignores that like the current model didn't work. Like, I don't think everybody would have. I think everybody would have been happy with this whole like, oh, thank goodness they're not changing anything. And then when they continue to go back, like the game currently has made you completely apathetic to this platform.
Yes.
And you want that to stay?
No, the reason I'm apathetic is because of the constant goalpost moving and like what they did to MLS. No. I was content with what is going on in Europe and Challenger and Contender. The issue was more so apathetic towards when they did the golden goal and shit for MLS.
Yeah, no, I just think that they see lots of complaints about people. Oh, scores are so high.
Yeah,
I can't compete with all of this, and that happens throughout the season. And so they take that, I'll call it feedback, and they're like, all right, then we need to change the game because the game is not working for these people. And the only reason that we would have been happy with the no change, I don't even know if we would be happy with it, because they were like, I feel like the response would just be like, oh, so they're not going to address the problems that we've all been complaining about for the last 9 months. Like, I just don't think the game was in a spot where people would have been fine with no changes. That doesn't mean the changes they made were great. But
yeah, I think people look at it and the changes that they previously had were better than what came. Like, nothing is better than what they did.
Nothing. I mean,
what they did is so bad on so many levels. It's like,
I mean, we'll get into it, but I'm not convinced that's the case.
Maybe.
But I just like, I can't listen to one more person just be like, let's go back to 4 years ago. And it's like, if we go back to 4 years ago, the platform doesn't exist.
Yeah, correct.
We are literally all playing Footium at that point, which I'm sure the Footium guys are like, oh yeah, let's just do that. So I almost I don't want to spend too much time on the super rare unique thing, because I don't think it's like that constructive, because we all just fucking hate it. Well, but like, from your perspective, like what were the main points? Because I have a very, very clear, this is why this doesn't make sense. And I'm curious, like, what you think about that.
So we won't spend much time on it, because obviously most people don't care about that. But the issue with super rare and uniques is they basically removed uniques. Like, there is no such thing as a unique anymore. It is just like a glorified super rare, and that is it. They say that they are going to give a bonus if you win shit with the unique. But one, that's really fucking hard when you have to use a unique and everyone else can just use super rares on the same level, because your uniques are going to be worse most likely than all the super rares people can realistically have, excluding like Pranksy or someone else. And they removed any value from any of the, like, not even like mid-range, like anything below like the high-end uniques are just like completely dust bags. They're like completely worthless now, like completely useless cards. Because like I can't just go into like a contest with all these super rares and run like a Antoine Griezmann while everyone else is running Mbappe, Yamal, and all these other guys. Like, it just doesn't work. So they just completely killed all the uniques, which have been your highest spenders for years. And their comments on like why they're doing it is because the unique situation didn't work. You made the unique situation not work by paying everything so fucking top heavy for the last couple of years that nobody was interested in playing unique, because you only paid out to like top 3 places, and no one can realistically beat Pranksy or the other big guys on a consistent basis. So they're out the door. And then like you also, this is another overall, like on all the comments, they came in and said, we're giving you more or more places to use things. By doing that, we're removing all these places to do things. It made no fucking sense.
So I'm going to disagree, or at least, and this is obviously part of the problem with like announcing some stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know what these like month-long competitions look like.
Correct.
Like we don't know how many lineups there are. We don't know. We have no idea until, I think the biggest problem with how we picture the arena stuff is that we just think about what it is now. And so it's very difficult for us to be like, is there really going to be a situation where I have like 10, 20 arena lineups? Like, who knows? I don't know if that's stuff that they do know and they're just like not telling us. But it is seen like there's a very big opportunity to be like, hey, here's how many lineups you could submit now. Here's how many you're going to be able to submit in 3 months. And that kind of alleviates a lot of the concerns that people have, because that's the biggest thing that people look at is the number of lineups in core competitions is drastically reduced.
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, there's more. Because we have arena, and we're like, oh, how many is that? And they're like, we have arena. And you're like, yeah, but how? And they're like, no, unlimited. And they're like, we have the month long. And you're like, how many lineups is that? And they're like, well, they're month longs. And it's like, okay, so we don't know yet. So
yeah,
that's why I'm like, and this kind of goes back to the whole telling us some stuff and not others, which you and I disagree on some of that as well. I will agree that what they gave us was not enough.
Yeah.
Like, the prize pool, I actually think, is okay separated.
Yeah, I'm fine with the prize pool, but if you're like, hey guys, we're just fucking removing uniques, and then you're like, we're gonna give a bonus if you use them.
Oh, I wasn't even really just talking about the uniques, but that falls into it as well. I was more just like people just want to know where they can play their cards, and what the message was like, there'll be spots, and it's like, great. For the super rare and unique, and this is what I've been trying to say all week, Philly Dilly says it. The big miss for Sorare is you play super rare and unique much more so to play against fewer people. Correct. And so combining them goes directly against that. Now, the reason why I was like, that doesn't obviously goes against it from the people who just play super rare, because it's not like you're competing in lineups and rares, and there's only like so many unique lineups that can be thrown in your competitions. But it is just like the biggest fuck you to unique players who are like, we know you love playing against 15 people. Now you get to play against 115. And they're like,
it's like 500. Oh, it's not even, because it's not even just that, Laird. It's like in Classic, they've removed in Champ. There went from 5 competition options to 1. In Challenger and all these others, it went from like there being like a 6-league competition to like a 30-league competition. The amount of lineups that are going to be in all these contests as 5x in every spot. Yeah,
like I feel like the common belief was that people played unique for the higher prizes, which like obviously the higher prizes help, but it's so you don't have to score 500 points.
500 raw points, yeah.
Raw points, right. Yeah. Right, with those bonuses. They're like,
well, I only talk in raw points, but like fucking hater guy will talk in like non-raw points. I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Because everyone has different.
Yeah, so like fewer people competing means that scores don't have to be as high. And so you can play these like tier 3 guys in unique that sometimes work out. And now when everybody has the tier 0 and 1 uniques and the tier 0, 1 super rares in the same contest,
yeah,
anything below it in unique is literal dust.
Yeah, literal dust bags. It's literally the same as like the others. Because the thing is like what I don't think people understand, or at least some people didn't understand, is you still have to win in super rare unique combo to get whatever the fuck boost is that they're going to give you. And that boost is likely going to be fucking like 10% when it needs to be like 300%.
So yes. So it's like one of those things that like, I thought you were going to say 10x. Like it needs to be, they're going to say it's 10%, but it needs to be 10x.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 is kind of aggressive.
No, but like it doesn't have to be 10x, but like, yeah, like if I'm using a full unique lineup, for example, it needs to be like a 5x. Like I need to basically get like for each unique I use, I should be able to get like a 50 to 100% multiplier, and it's not going to be that. It's going to be like 5%. If you use 2 uniques, it's 10. So like you're not going to realistically do well with any unique card. Like a unique card, also like it's not a unique card anymore. It's like a glorified super rare. And all of a sudden, like you buy it as a glorified super rare that's just going to remain in season for eternity. And then next season, they're going to tell you it's not. And like they're gonna be like, oh, your unique isn't in season anymore. It's not. Oh yeah, because you can only use one anyways as like an in season card. But like then next season they're gonna be like, yeah, that no longer exists. So like you bought this card expecting it to be a permanently in season card, and then it's gone. And so like that's where we talk about the constant moving of the goalpost. Like they just constantly change shit. And how can you buy stuff when it's constantly changing and you're buying it for this reason, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, that's gone, and they do it all the time.
So the reason they do it all the time is because whatever plans they've come up with previously don't work.
Correct. But
it's super fucking annoying.
A lot of the plans that don't work, they don't work because they're stupid. And like the design of the plan they come up with is terrible. And we tell them that. But then we all are like, all right, fine. That's the plan you're going with. We will work with that plan as best as we can. And then eventually they change it again because the plans suck to begin with.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of them have been like, we didn't know until we started playing that we knew that they were bad. I'd like to go back to you were saying that every update has been bad. The one that immediately jumped out at me was like unique and super rare cap 240. That was like amazing.
Oh, I don't know. The MLS golden goal was like
no, but I'm saying positively, like the last like positive one that when they did threshold for super rare and unique, we loved it.
Probably. Yeah, that's fair. It's been a while since we had a positive update.
Yeah. Ryan said, where we stand right now, will you buy any in-season unique or super rare? I know you're not going to buy an in-season unique, but
no, I would never buy a unique again in my life.
Would you buy an in-season super rare to play in-season super rare unique?
We'll see if I have a gallery. No, I'm being serious. Like I very well might sell my gallery.
I know my eye roll was like wondering who's buying your gallery.
Well, who knows? I told you. What have I told you before? The day Bellama is done with the platform, that's the day we all should be done with the platform. And Bellama, I believe, is done with the platform.
Mm.
A lot of it is trust. Like I will say, I have completely lost trust in their ability to not do something absolutely idiotic. Because like I saw this update. I mean, I'm going to say this with as little disrespect intended as possible, which is going to be difficult. But like I read this update, and I'm like, man, you're brain damaged. Whoever came up with this and whoever approved it is even worse. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, that's so mean. But I'm like, also like reading it, I'm like, I don't know what else to say about it. Like it is so bad that I cannot fathom how anybody came up to this shit.
The update or the update of the update?
The update of the update was like, holy fuck, we're getting way more blowback than we thought because we thought this idea was good, which is their standard fucking approach. When you're like, how is that your standard approach? Like you really thought the unique users were going to be happy you were removing unique gameplay? Like you thought that we're going to be happy? You really thought that like all the rare and limited users are going to be thrilled that you're removing all of their regions? Like, I mean, it screams ineptitude at like the highest level. And this one like screamed it so much higher than it's ever been screamed before that for me, it's just like a complete trust thing. Like I don't know how I can trust them to not do something. If they legitimately, if this is like the plan they came up with, there's only 2 options to me. Well, I guess there's 3. Option 1, they're going broke. They are trying something desperate to try to save something because they have no other option. Definitely in play. That is definitely in play here. Option 2 is they are so inept and lack so much information and ability to understand their game that honestly might be more scary, because like if you understand your game so little, your customer so little, and this is your update, that scares the shit out of me too. Neither of those options are good.
All right, so I think we assume, because we don't necessarily like the updates, that they didn't get feedback that led them to these decisions.
Where did you think they get this? Where could they have physically gotten this feedback from at the high levels?
I don't even, so let's finish on super and unique because I really don't want to talk about it anymore because I genuinely think that, so I don't know who they talk to. Like, none of us know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I think what matters to me as a user on this platform who doesn't even play super rare and unique, well, I don't play unique, is they did not talk to Pranksy. And I realize that sounds like really weird to say like, oh, you didn't talk to like one user. But I feel like they should have talked to that one user who spends more money than anyone else.
But even then, like, even not talking to him, which I agree, they definitely, he thought this update was going to be completely different than it was. He was
misled. Of course, like, yes.
He was very badly misled, I think. And
I don't know about misled, because that almost sounds like they told him something that ended up being different. It sounds like there was just no communication.
I'll use misled. No, you can use no communication. I'll use misled. We'll go with those two options. But like removing him, like what person that's playing at the unique level would like be like, yeah, that's good. That's a great, like who would give this feedback that plays the game?
So I don't know.
Because like I cannot imagine there was a. I just don't understand how they could get to a feedback loop of that was like a good idea.
So I forget who I was talking to about it.
You know what was also funny about this update is literally people that don't even play super rare uniques are like, holy shit, that's bad for that.
Yeah.
That's how bad that was.
That's how, like they figured out a way for people who never play uniques to actually feel bad for the people who play uniques instead of pissed off that they took.
I saw limited people on Twitter like complaining about other stuff. They're like, holy shit, that unique and super is so bad. And I'm like, wow.
So Philly Dilly said, I think the feedback was prize pools need to be better and they never asked about combining and no one thought of it since it's so bad. Like, I actually think, so I said this on a stream earlier this week, but like they spend a lot of time getting feedback from users and like users on all different levels. And the problem sometimes with feedback is there's a way for you to ask questions that lead to you getting the answers you want. As opposed to finding out what people actually think. And so it feels like they went to the people who play unique. And again, like there are just not that many of them. Literally, there are just not that many of those people. And they were like, hey, we're thinking of combining super rare and unique, but you make so much more if you use uniques. What do you think about that? And they're like, yeah, if you can make so much more with uniques, great. And like very little thought went into the whole like, wait, I actually have to compete against the super rares in the same contest. And there was just like, it's almost like the question may have been presented without enough information and stopped at, do you want to make more money with your uniques? And it's like, sure. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And again, not that I think that Pranksy's opinion matters more than anyone else's on the platform, but at least find out what he thinks about it.
Yeah. Like at least present him what it is and be like, does this make sense? And see what he thinks.
This is a great one. PSU, would you like more free time? Sure. Okay. Fewer lineups.
Yeah.
So you don't have to spend all this extra time.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah. Okay. So let's continue on to other stuff within the update outside of this.
Yeah. So, so the whole, like, they must be bankrupt. I want to get into that because in season we don't know like what the prize pools are going to be, but in season didn't change drastically other than we have some sort of, or we have more individual leagues. One of the things from the update today though, so the update was like, we're going to have Prem, La Liga, and Bundesliga and MLS go on. They're adding Jupiler, they're adding Eredivisie, and there was some weird line like at least one more European league, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Please note that not all of our league partners will have league-specific competitions. Sure, because not... All right. They will be part of the in-season regional structure, which was nowhere in the first update. There was nothing about in-season challenger and in-season contender. Like we've said all week, the word challenger and the word contender were not in the updates.
Correct.
Anion says probably Ligue 1, right? Or Serie A. Unfortunately, it's not both. Maybe it's both. Who knows?
Well, I would think it's more likely Ligue 1 because I think they had that. I think there's more issues with Serie A. It seems
probably.
Like. Yeah.
But now it's like I read that and I was like, wait, so there will be like in season something else for all of these other cards? And it's like, well, what does that look like?
The way that it seems, the way that it reads is like that in season is not going to change at all. It's kind of like what it reads like.
So that's why I like struggle with people being like, oh, clearly that means their financial situation is bad. And it's like, that's the financial situation. Like that's where they pay out the cash.
But it seems like, well, also though, they came into this update and they're like, we're making sure Classic is better. By doing that, we're killing it as hard as we can. But I'm saying that's another one of those like discussion points on this update is like, that's why it's difficult to listen to them and like have conversations. When they say that, then they come out with these things that make Classic better and more useful, while realistically making it 10 times worse than it was the day before.
So again, like we don't know though. We don't know what the arenas look like. We don't know what this month, what this longer term form. So I wanted to go back just quickly.
Well, I think what they might do is Hatling and maybe is sort of alluding to it. What they might do is just like sort of have all of these individual leagues and then just outside of that, just have one giant thing or something.
Yeah, it's like a all-star minus the individual leagues.
Yeah.
It's literally a rest of world. In season rest of world.
Correct.
Which means just like Celtic Prince. Celtic and PSV all in the same.
Yeah. Effectively.
So I went back because there were a number of people who were talking about fitness and like, had they just done fitness like previously? That was like actually what I was going to talk about today.
Fitness would work.
So the biggest problem that people had with fitness when they announced it was that we were going to have to pay to use our cards.
Yeah.
Like that's how it came out.
Yeah.
And instead of paying to use our same cards, they're making us just pay to buy new cards. Like it doesn't seem any different to me.
Yeah.
So like they were like, let's just go to do fitness. And it's like, there's still money coming out of your pocket. It's not the same. But anyway, while I was looking at this, it was the what's in store for 23-24. And they talk about these long format competitions on Sorare. And it's like, all right, we're going to do, and you loved those fucking things because it was like,
I didn't.
At first you did because it was just all-star for 4 weeks and you got rewards every game week and at the end.
Well, no, I loved them because they were so favorable for me. I thought they were absolutely stupid to do.
Well,
it's just like a massive, massive whale edge.
Yes.
Which like that,
But they got all excited about the longer term format. And they were like, people are going to love it. And then it lasted 3 months and nobody liked it. And now we're going back to it in some way.
Yeah, it just seems like they're constantly grasping at straws instead of, well, like here's the thing too, like that bothers me, and it's not like it goes further into them not understanding their platform or their customers. We talked to quite a few people, right? Like you talked to quite a few people. I talked to quite a few people. Like I'd say we talked to at least a good chunk of users, a lot of the most engaged users. Sorare never talks to any of them. Sorare never hears from them on what to do, what they think about stuff. And it's weird because like I haven't been approached in years to like talk about something. I don't understand that. Like I'm a pretty good person to talk to about higher level stuff. When was the last time you were talked to about stuff? It was probably years ago at this point. And it was probably only because of SorareData.
The last conversation I had with them,
like I was probably in it with you with SorareData when they were talking about like Prem stuff.
No, I had one more recently than that about DNPs. which also nowhere in the update.
Yeah, DNPs were like, DNPs suck.
We hear you loud and clear. We're gonna go
hear you guys.
SM7.
Oh, DNPs, just not even a draft. Oh, and then another weird thing in this thing is like, look, they're like, yeah, we're gonna update the score matrix. I'm like, no one has asked for that at all. Like, okay, sure, you're gonna remove the negative decisive for 3 goals against. Like, fine, whatever. No one gives a shit. Like, no one has really like, yeah, people might slightly complain about something here and there, but like, no one. It's not been like an outright like people want the matrix changed for like 3 years. Why are we changing the matrix? Just leave it the way it is.
Don Q said I'm mildly positive about the update, but that's also because I don't care about super rare and unique.
I could see how you are positive about the update if you are strictly a lower level player, like limited and rares, and you have high level cards, like you have Rodri and stuff, like you have shit like that, and you don't have a lot of cards. If that's the case, I think it could be okay. Because like you're basically like, okay, you can use one classic card, no big deal. I'm going to buy new cards, like it's fine.
So you were initially slow to get into in-season, not in MLS, but like, do you see yourself buying in-season cards for Europe?
I don't. I really think there's a good shot I sell my gallery.
Oh,
yeah, that's like tentative plan.
So is it because you don't think that your gallery can compete in the new gameplay, or you just don't want to play it?
I don't trust the team. I don't trust the decision makers they can have. Like I said, to me, the update the other day was very clear that they are either very low on funds or that they are very inept and not capable of making decisions that need to be made, or it's a combination of the two. And this was the first time we finally got to that level for me where I was just like, oh, I just don't know if I can do this anymore.
But like, why isn't there the outcome of, or the possibility that financially they are good enough, they don't have to be thriving, and that they are making changes to the game because they had enough feedback from users that the current gameplay didn't work for them? Like, I don't think they move goalposts just to move them. I think they get legitimate feedback that like, hey, it sucks when I score 500 points and barely win anything.
Yeah, but now you're going to now score 550 and not win anything because it's now harder? Like, I don't understand how that helps. They made it less regions, so there's more cards jammed into those spots.
Well, we don't know, because play arena and win with 312 points. Like, I think there are just different avenues to play now.
If we could actually bet money, if I could bet money and not like Essence and arena, I would be all in.
If I could just winning Essence in the arena to craft cards that you can sell is too much of a step.
And you have to bet Essence to win Essence in arena. If I could bet money and win money in arena, I would do that. And I would have interest in it. But like the Essence, like, okay, great, I'm gonna then mint a fucking dog shit tier 5, then who cares?
Well, just win enough to get tier 0s and sell those.
You can't. Remember, they're moving everything to one level.
Well, yeah, but there'll be ways to get better cards if you use more Essence. And apparently they're going to have cash arenas, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who understands that? I don't. They don't. They like, it hasn't even been announced yet, so like they clearly don't know what's going on with that shit. Like, I don't know. To me, like I said, I've lost.
I feel like you're just saying that there's only 2 ways that this is paying out, and there are only 2 ways this plays out. And it seems like there are 20 ways it could play out.
Well, no, because one of the ways could just be the way, like them being inept and not being able to make decisions that make any sense. Like, that encompasses a whole lot of your 20 reasons.
But what I'm saying is that like it's possible that this works, which we've said every update for the last 5.
I don't see how this update, I don't see how I could look at this update and this update be like a legit, like, oh yeah, that makes, like, at least most updates you can be like, yeah, that makes some sense. Like, okay, I sort of get it, kind of. This is the first update where I've come to where it's just like, this makes absolutely no fucking sense whatsoever.
Is there any way that you look at this update and something that's missing that would make you say like, oh, okay. Like if they had the details of the arena, oh, you can play cash arenas or you can play whatever? Like, is there anything that leads you to think that that's positive for you?
I mean, the issue is in that scenario, then it just further like exemplifies the ineptitude of like, why wasn't that included in the first time? And I understand your conversations about that you don't need all the information and all the updates. Like you can wait a little bit on some of them. Like I don't disagree with your assessment on that, but like we're just removing uniques, guys, and nothing else. Like that's not like a reasonable or realistic. Yeah, like if they came out and they're like the unique multiplier is 5x. Every time you use a unique card, you get 5x the multiplier. Okay, that probably would have at least made it like, all right, this is all right. But like you're not putting that in the update is inept, right? Like that's just the only answer to that. Or it's not good enough and they know it's not good enough, so they're not putting it in there, or they don't know what it is yet, so they're still waiting to decide, and that also goes into the ineptitude of like, why is this not known?
I think the argument that you and I usually have about these announcements is I'm kind of like the prize pool information is so big that combining it with like the new rules, it's just too much for people.
Yeah.
But it felt like they didn't include enough of the new rules here that it's like, we're not even thinking of the prize pools. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like the prize pools make a difference. But like, what about these 45 questions first? And like, that's where the problem is. Like the prize pools, everybody wants to know, sure. And everybody, even though if they don't play super rare and unique, want to know like what's going on there. I think like, I'm trying to look at this update. Why didn't we share the full in-season structure yet? Like, I get it. Like you don't have the partners, fine. The new classic structure, there are fewer lineup slots in the new classic structure, but that doesn't mean fewer rewards, which I think is like the first time they're actually admitting it's fewer lineup spots. But it's also not telling us how many we'll have. Like, I think that's what people want to know. How many lineups am I going to have? And you can make this the absurd case of like, well, you could have as many arena lineups as you want. So we can't put a number on it because you could have unlimited. And it's like, fine, tell us that.
Yeah.
Tell us how many month-long. And I think that's the biggest problem that people have with this like improving classic solution, in that we still don't know how many lineups we're going to have.
Yeah. I mean, I have 776 super rares. And this update means I can use like 40 a week-ish.
As far as we know. We don't know.
I mean, compared to 200 or so that I can use now. Like, am I going to be able to make like 58 super rare arena lineups? Maybe. I have no idea. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I kept going back to was like recently, like towards the end of the season, I would make my lineups and then I would do arena. Like I prioritized the arena once or twice. And then I was like, I can't remember, I didn't have time or whatever it was. But 2 of the weeks I didn't play the arena because I didn't have goalies. And it was like, oh, maybe I should go buy some goalies so that I can make some arena lineups. And then I was like, oh, I wonder how many arena lineups I'm going to be able to make. And it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
And here we are again, June 13th. I still don't know how many lineups I'm going to be able to make.
Well, and it's also like a thing too. I mean, it goes back to another thing you mentioned. Like, I don't want to be making an arena lineup where it's dead because of a DNP. So like, because you're actually like having to put essence in, and you're pretty much dead if you have a DNP. So like, all right, I'm not really that interested in arena because I have the DNP problem that has still existing, and pretty clear at this point they don't know what the fuck they're going to do around it. Like,
I think the issue that I had with arena, because it seems like they're going to have 2 of them. Like the one is the regular deadline and another's like, oh, submit whenever you want. And it's like, all right, that helps. But also if I have a guy that I want to play, I enter mid Saturday and my best card is Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm still not like, I still have a significant DNP.
Correct. Like, it's really not that much different unless you're doing it in stacking. Also, that was another thing I have, and I hate collections and don't give a shit about it. This update, I love how it's like, you have collections, go fuck yourself because you can't use them together, baby, because we're going to punish you.
No, it's the opposite, man. You can't stack but you need collections.
Oh, sorry, my bad. You
They're
can't.
like, no. You can't have one collection. You need to have 5 collections.
And then I also like you can use the cap 260. You're just going to be at 100-point disadvantage to your other competitors. But if you win, you'll get a bonus.
This is it. If you have multiple 5% collections, you're flying now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As a major DFS player, by the end of the season, how tough will arenas be? I think there is a risk they just go to the way of poker and are so tough it's pointless for casuals.
I mean, I'm sure as shit wouldn't want to be put up in an arena against my lineups if I end up taking it seriously. Like, imagine just
you
like
only have
you're
one,
going,
though.
huh?
You can only have one.
No, you said it's a never-ending, unlimited amount.
No, like, I think they're going to have, you can only go into one arena. Like, you could have 50 arena lineups, but they're all in different arenas.
Oh, yeah. But like I'm saying, like, I wouldn't want to go into my arena lineup where Carlos Gil's at and all my other good cards. Like, I don't give enough of a shit, which goes into the apathetic. But like, I had Almiron in a super lineup with my Gil super rare that's dead because he didn't play. Which, funnily enough, like I would have like 4 months ago, I would have not played him there because I would have known he was likely to not play or definitely not start. But again, didn't care. But like, so now that lamp is dead. Like, I have Jeppy super rare, I have Gil super rare in that lamp. Like, if I gave a shit, I would go move them into an arena lamp and run it there.
Halligan said arena's capped 260 though, but they specifically said they're going to have uncapped.
Well, perfect example. Cap 260. I got Thomas Romero 0 yesterday. Okay, enjoy my 75 for my 0 cap goalie. Have fun. You're going to compete against me. Like,
I think
in that situation, it just also comes of like, who is just getting those elite level cap goalies because they're going to just kill you.
Yeah, I think the breadth of arenas is a lot bigger than we're all expecting.
Maybe
that you'll be able to play almost anything you want.
Yeah.
And the problem is that for me, reading the update and everything, it felt like the arenas are really, really, really important for classic utility. Like that the arenas are the solution to classic is dead. And we really don't know anything about them other than like, we're going to have them. Yeah. And we can do anything. And we're going to have some where you cost 10, some that cost 5. We'll have some free. We'll have some prem. We'll have some challenger. We'll have, and it's like, okay, I still can't like, how does my gallery fit into these? And we still don't know.
We have no idea. And like, I think that's a pretty difficult thing to like fully discuss when you don't know the answer to those equations. And like, you're just sitting there like, oh shit, like that doesn't really make tons of sense. And like, I think that's kind of where we're at right now with stuff. And it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. Philly Dilly said they need cap and uncapped arena options. If arena is where everything is being funneled, stars will be stars, etc. And then Don Q said, I still like my chances against a whale with 8 other people rather than 20 whales and thousands of other people, which I think is right. Like,
yeah, but like you're also winning like a super small amount compared to like
the cash game,
potential high level stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's not a cash game. It's like a single table tournament versus like a big tournament. Like if you go out there and you play me and eight other people, you win like 4x your value. Whereas like in a full level, like high level thing, like the tournament, like if you pop up. And the thing is like you typically still need good scores probably to win arena as we go. But like your level of what you're going to win is a lot higher. So like you're basically, which is fine. Like, I mean, having a single table tournament option effectively comparatively is totally okay.
What are those, since I haven't played DraftKings in a while, don't they have like those 10-player tournaments where the top 3 win? They're not double.
They call them leagues.
Sure.
That's
like,
what they
isn't that what these are?
Yeah, effectively. But the issue is like in DraftKings, you don't have to eat a DNP.
Sure. Yeah.
So
no,
like,
I think
that's the difference.
I would be amazingly surprised if we went until November with no late swap arenas.
Well, I mean, I'm still not sure what they're going to do with late swap stuff because like it felt like they were going to give us some options of late swap, and then it seemed like all of a sudden that was not the case anymore. Like it seemed like we were getting
They
more.
said everything midweek was going to be or something like that.
Well, I mean, I think they could make some things. I think all the individual league shit should be late swap. I think all individual league shit should be late swap.
I wouldn't be surprised if all of the individual league arenas were late swap.
No, but I'm just thinking, like, even just in general, like, I think the individual league stuff should be late swap because there is not enough going on in the individual league stuff that people, if they are playing the individual league stuff, can't, like, oh, this is the lineup for this game type of shit.
The only way that I think late swap works for, like actually works for people is, and Andrea said rolling rocks, maybe never late swap. I think late swap only works if you have to, if the cards that you sub in
rolling rocks and late swap are the same thing, I think.
Rolling locks are like the deadline is now and nothing after that.
Oh yeah, that's asinine because that doesn't do any good. Like it only gets you like the first game of 10
at most. Well,
yeah,
it gives, I think the reason why people like rolling locks, like we get the MLS availability report on Friday and then the lock is Saturday. So it's at least you have something.
Yeah, you have a little bit, but like there's no reason that you can't just do late swap.
Yeah, but I think the only way that late swap really works on Sorare is if you cannot take cards from other lineups.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable expectation.
And I think that actually solves some problems for Sorare wanting to get some of these cards out of lineups.
Yeah.
Halligan said, people complaining about the classic announcement don't understand how brilliant the arena is. The concept opens up so many opportunities for great competitions, and you don't have to beat 50 Bayern stacks. Also, like, they could make arenas more than 10 people. I mean, they did. The Coliseum is, I have no idea how many it is. Like, it's just the opportunities that the arena gives them or give them is significant. The problem is they're kind of, the announcement just feels like they're saying like the arena will solve everything and we still don't know anything about the
Yeah.
arenas.
Yeah,
I would understand the arena's brilliance if they explained how the arena works.
Yeah, I might have a different opinion on it if you like let us know how the arena is actually going to play out. But like we don't have that information, which makes it like pretty fucking difficult. So like for that perspective, it's like, what am I expecting here? Because I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I think it's the lobby ends up looking just like DraftKings. You have your regular competitions with big prize up top, and then you have your little cash games where you can maybe double your whatever. And that's what they look like.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, let's just fucking go full gambling. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, we would be in, but like half the world gets, 3/4 of the world is out now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I think the issue is with classic is they just like, there's just a never ending movement on what your classic cards can be used for and utilized with. And that makes it really difficult to prepare on classic cards and like what to buy with them, which I do agree they don't care enough about, or they don't care about. That's not their concern. Like once you've bought classic cards, they don't give a fuck about you. But I think like a big misconception that they have that I don't think they've sort of understood is like the secondary market is like your lifeblood of the game, because you're getting a constant 5% on deals in the secondary market. And if the secondary market is always healthy and active and people are always utilizing the secondary market well, that's when people buy more cards and are more excited because they're like, oh, the secondary market's great and me getting a reward and selling it's not going to be an issue. I'm going to get good value off it, shit like that. So like, I think that the secondary market being healthy is the key to the success of the game, which is sort of something we've said for forever, where they're like, oh, once you are on the second, once you buy a card and it's classic, I don't give a fuck, it's dead. Whereas like to us, or at least to me, if the classic cards are healthy, that's when you're going to have like a happy user base, a healthy user base. When you just are like, this is what you get to use, then you change it and you make the classic cards worth a lot less. And then all of a sudden you just have a massive market crash because people are just like completely fucking out. That's where it's like, eh.
Yeah, I think it's almost like they said, we need to make everybody want to buy primary market cards. And like, that's everything they did. And so obviously that hurts the secondary market. Whereas I feel like the mentality has to be, we want everybody to buy cards. whatever cards they are, we want people to buy them.
Correct.
And if you buy primary market cards, it's even better. But
Correct.
But instead, they went full-fledged, like we need people to buy primary market cards. Please ignore those classics over there.
Correct.
I do want to, there was a tweet somewhere, somebody was talking, like compared Sorare to DraftKings in terms of rake. And within that conversation, somebody was like, basically for every $20 that somebody spends on the secondary market, Sorare makes one.
Yeah.
Sorare probably doesn't even make one.
Yeah, no.
I think it was like long believed that all of the secondary market revenue goes right to the leagues.
I don't think that's true.
I think I think that's why they introduced it.
Maybe. I don't think that would be true. Well, realistically, I think they should charge then 10% on secondary. If like they charge more on the secondary and actually like advertise people to go to the secondary, I think that would be a positive.
Yeah, I'm not sure as many people would buy.
I understand why people don't go to the secondary.
Right. Anion said, shouldn't the arena boost the secondary market? You don't need XP in collection, so it makes sense to buy them in classic. The problem is we have no idea what the arenas will look like.
And even like if it does originally, like it might not eventually. Like they might like remove that utility at some point. So you're like way less interested.
Yeah. I need you to talk for a couple minutes. I got to take
some no problem. Yeah. So like for me, it's a big thing where it's just like a massive like moving of goalposts constantly. We see the goalposts get shifted year in, year out. Like you buy a card thinking you're getting this utility out of it, and then they take that utility away. Even classic, like I know people obviously devalue their classic utility, especially nowadays compared to what we used to. But like if we have a classic utility that we were expecting to get 10 to 20% of the value out of the card in the long term, and then all of a sudden they remove that, and you now no longer have that. That's a massive shift on things. So I think that they just constantly move things, and I just really don't think they make intelligent decisions. And I don't know if that lack of intelligent decisions is because they just like don't have the ability to make them because they don't understand their game, or if it's a financially related reason. Because if it's not financially related, and I look at these things and I'm like, holy fuck, that makes no sense. And I don't think anyone really buys into that. That can be an issue. If you guys got any questions, pop them in the chat too, since I'm just talking, so I can go with anything. But like I think classic was fine. Even at the rare level, I don't have the best rare cards, and I won La Liga rare last season. Like I won La Liga D1 rare last season at some point towards the end of the season. Like let's say it was like 75% of the way through the season. My cards were not good. I won it with like Johan Garcia, Rudiger, Julian Alvarez, maybe Arda Güler when he was starting to get the games at the end of the season. So like, it wasn't like it was an astronomical feat where I passed it. James says, agree, PSU. If we accept these changes and adapt next year, they'll do it again, and everything we did this year won't have mattered. That's my issue. Is like we're at a point where like every year the goalposts have changed, and I can't really plan because it's just like, okay, so it's either like basically what I can do is I can not buy any cards, just play classic and just sort of suck out what I can get out of it, or sell gallery, which I'm definitely in play with. If anyone wants to buy my gallery, I will sell it to you for 50% of SorareData value. So if anyone wants it, come at me. And then like my other alternative is I buy cards and they just change everything on me, and I like lose 20, 30% of the value I bought it with intending to have in the future. So it becomes a pretty concerning thing for me where I just don't really trust them at this point. Philly said current data values. I have the permanent last value in my brain of what my SorareData value was when it ended.
That's where you sell things.
Yeah, 206 ETH. So if anyone wants it, I'll even sell below 50. Anyone wants my gallery for 100, hit your boy up. It's yours. Literally won't negotiate a thing. If you come to me and say, I'll give you 100 ETH for your gallery, I will do it on the spot right now today. And so
you could just have one João Felix rare card.
Yeah, one João. I have, better yet, Laird, I have 2 or 3 in my gallery.
Wow.
So you get my gallery for 100 ETH. It comes with 3 or 2. I don't even know because, again, SorareData doesn't exist anymore. So I have 1 or 2 or 3 João Felixes. I have at least 2. I know I have at least 2. I might have 3.
That's why you're a high roller.
That's right. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think at this point, like, I don't trust the team to come up with stuff that makes sense for me as a user currently. I think stuff they do can be productive for incoming new users. And I think that it's like if you come in and you just completely ignore anything in the future about anything going forward, and you only look at that season, I think it can be okay. And you can at least make your monetary decisions of like what makes sense, what doesn't, go from there. Which is pretty much what I did with MLS Super Rare. Came in, was like, I'm pretty positive I can get out 3 to 4K if I put in. I thought I could get out like 6 to 8K if I put in 3 to 4K. Easy mathematical decision for me. I was able to do that. And I had no expectations on value on those cards going forward. So anyways, Ryan asked if I leave Sorare, where is my time going? A lot more watching TV and sitting on the couch would happen. And then I would also work more on DFS related stuff in college football, which I already spend a lot of time on anyways. I would just spend more time on that.
So 2 things on what you said. The first is this feels like I'm like sticking up for them about constantly moving the goalposts, because obviously they have to keep moving the goalposts because they haven't gotten the right solution yet. The rules change because the previous rules that they came up with don't work. And so like that's why they keep doing it. It feels like there's a pocket in this community that feels like they just change all the time for fun. And it's like they're doing, like, if they nailed it, they would keep it. And so they have to figure out a solution that works for them and for their users. And obviously they haven't gotten that yet. And maybe this year they get it, or maybe they don't. You know, who knows? The other one is, if you had never joined Sorare and I came to you with this gameplay, what do you think about it?
I probably wouldn't come onto the platform. Like I wouldn't, with what you have, like if you showed me stuff and like explained it, I don't think I would come in because I don't think it would be super worth it.
Like the in-season stuff's not big enough.
And it's just not worth it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah. For me, like I wouldn't come into the platform today. I'd be like, okay, so I can maybe turn my 4K into 8K over the season and work decently hard at it and do that.
Right. That's not worth it.
Just wouldn't do it for me. Whereas like, which is like partly why I'm like open to selling my gallery. It's just not like I've put in so much time and effort with my Sorare gallery to turn out. Actually, I looked at it last year. I generated about 20 ETH last year in rewards.
Is that when ETH was like $1,000 or
combined, like all throughout the time? But to your point of like why they keep moving the goalposts, the reason I think they keep moving the goalposts is because they don't understand the game. They don't, the updates and the ideas they come up with don't make much sense. So like then they fail on a whole scale because the user base doesn't like what they come up with.
So like going back to the last one, which was basically like the change.
The last update was MLS Golden Goal.
Like previous, like literally what the classic in season. I consider like the European change basically.
Yeah.
What of that, when we should have just gone back and like watched what we thought about it, because did we end up, I assume we hated it. I have no idea. Like I'm trying to think back of like, were the concerns that we had back then justified? And if yes, were they addressed? And if not, then why weren't they addressed? I can't remember like what. I feel like all we did was like, all right, we're just going to have to buy in season cards. Threshold is gone. The Classic was still kind of the same, but like we had to have known Classic was going to be really hard anyway.
Well, they literally moved the goalpost on last year's announcement in the middle of the season because they changed your utility from 3 in-season cards from 3 to 4 at like super rare.
That's super rare, yeah, but limited and rare didn't change.
No, but I'm saying like they came in and fucking moved the goalpost again. I would say that we thought that like you could buy in-season cards, but then like you would have some utility. The issue for me is like 4 in-season cards and then only being able to use 1 classic is just like, if you're not going, you have to basically buy all in-season cards. If I can use 2 classics, okay, that makes a lot more of an appealing process for me to go into. We were totally fine with them getting rid of the threshold. You and I were totally fine with that. Whenever that was a while ago, though. That was like 2 years ago, I think, at this point.
No, it was literally last year. It was like last
threshold being
February.
removed was last year.
It
That's
was
it.
February 2024. They announced the new gameplay, and that removed the thresholds.
You and I were totally fine with threshold being removed because we agreed it made no sense to just let people leech off the community and suck
Totally.
dry. And then also, like, it was so rewarding of the people that were doing poorly instead of like the actual high-end users that were winning and doing well.
Yep. I think
also this is another thing within this announcement, and like, again, not shocking, but completely removing the cash from the rewards in Classic is another just shitty thing. But we knew it was coming. Like, that wasn't something we didn't know that was coming.
You talking about like the podium cash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like getting rid of podium cash is a dumpster fire.
I think
but
that's
a whole other thing.
Somebody made a comment. Like, I think going back to why like super rare and unique is different. I think super rare and unique should have podium cash, but not limited in rare. Yeah, somebody was saying like it's very weird to have a contest where 3 people, 3 of 20,000 lineups win cash.
Yeah. Well, also though, like at limited, like if you win limited, you're more than likely getting a really high end tier 0. Whereas like you win like first place in La Liga Super, you might win like fucking Trubin or something.
Yep.
Not Trubin, sorry, fucking Lunin.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not hating on Lunin, but like you're just gonna get a shit card probably most of the time.
Yeah.
And like winning cash there makes sense because like you have to give more cash in super unique line. But it's like it goes into like what we talked about in MLS, like and uniques. The reason a lot of the unique and stuff was failing is because they incentivized you not to play. They basically said, hey, you got to have so fucking many that only people are going to compete are Pranksy and Bambi. And if you're not them, you're just not going to be interested.
So Pranksy told me the other day that he and Bellama, maybe whoever, basically track people who buy uniques. And he was like, there were more people buying uniques recently.
There were.
And it was like, people looked at unique and they were like, I want to play that. And obviously those people now don't want to play.
Yes.
But so you were saying like unique was so bad, but it sounds like there were people who were interested in playing it.
I think there were people coming in once stuff got cheaper and they could try to take some shots towards the end of the season.
And you didn't think that would continue into this season had the game stayed
the same?
No,
starting of the season would be the same. Like it would be the same dudes and no one else is really like coming in. Well, it depends what the prize pool was. Again, I said this. If the prize pool was like you have 5K and you don't pay like 3,500, 1K, 500, and you instead pay out through like 7th spot, people realize like I can finish 6th and I can sort of churn a bit by finishing 6th and it reduces my risk. Whereas like I can't realistically win frequently. And if you remove, like I'm pretty sure like Champ was like 7K, 1K, 500. I think that was Champ. If you make Champ 3K, 1,500, 1K, 700, 500, 300, 200, 200, a lot more people are going to have interest in playing it.
There was one comment before that. This was it. Anion said, what I remember is that most people thought they could just win in-season cards and then win big cash with them.
Yeah, which you can't really win good in-season cards.
Classic was so much harder, and it's only getting harder.
Well, you can basically win like 1 good in-season rare card or 2 a season, probably not very many. Which like problem is you fucking win it towards the end of the season, and it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway.
Valueless.
Yeah. James said the idea that you could use your classics to win stars in single league comps to build the in-season teams. It feels a lot tougher in the new season. If I'm a Prem player, to use a Prem lineup in Classic Champ to win a La Liga player, then that's no good. Which makes sense. Like if you only play the Prem, and then in Champ you win a La Liga player, that does not help you in Prem in season.
Correct.
Yes, you could just sell the card and buy the Prem card. Sure.
The secondary market kind of sucks, so it makes it difficult.
No, it's not that bad early season.
Yeah, early season, it's all right.
It's not that it's, I mean, you can move in season, like good in season cards will always have a market. Just not as high as
I think also like, in terms of winning, I was able to win enough decent. So the issue with me is if I need 4, realistically, if I need 4, that realistically means I need like 8, right? Like
in-season cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's why I
Playing
didn't play.
Super.
That's why I didn't play unique. If I need 3, that probably means I need 5. If I need 4, I need like 8. So like I can't realistically go into because I'm playing. I bought in-season J League and K League cards to play in-season Contender, which is hilarious.
That might continue.
Who the fuck knows? But so, anyways, I'm just gonna win it this weekend to pay them all off because I like paid like $2,000 for all of them because they're so undervalued. And if I win it once, it pays it off. But anyways, if I have to do like winning, I can win a couple cards during the season and then like buy a couple. But if you're telling me I gotta have 4, that means I realistically gotta win 8. I'm never winning that many. So like I'm just not gonna play it. That's what happened to me in MLS in-season unique this year. I have won like 6 in-season MLS uniques this year. I've sold them all because there was no way for me to get into it and play it realistically.
You know how you can win more? By playing the arena and crafting good cards.
Well, up until now, you can't play unique. There's no unique arena yet.
Oh, for unique. I was thinking super rare.
No, super there is now,
but there is. Aren't they doing unique?
Well, I think they are going forward. But like I've had a really good like last 3 months in the unique level, like where I've had good results and good finishes. You don't get essence there like at all. Like you win like no essence.
Oh, I have no idea.
No, like I'm telling you, like win like no essence. Like I probably won like 15 essence in the last like 4 months, despite doing really well.
Oh, you can play a unique in super rare arena.
Well, I mean that's where I've been playing uniques anywhere because I don't have another choice. I saw a lot of people on Twitter too, like talking about how like you used to like strive to like get to unique because it was the highest level, and now it's just like no one's striving to play uniques.
That's not true though. We were just talking about how there were people buying
anymore. I said anymore, like now.
But we were just saying how like Pranksy and Bellama have seen new people buy uniques.
I'm saying now.
Oh,
like from like 2 days ago.
2 days ago now. Gotcha.
James, I need, by the way, back to Toff turn from earlier. I need whatever drugs he's on because fucking they work well because I do not understand how that dude was like, I'm gonna go buy Bellama's uniques. But he did. So I need like whatever he's smoking. If I did drugs, like I would do that.
I don't know.
That's not true.
Buying you certainly not now. Not true.
Off turn is literally buying uniques or bought Bellama's uniques.
I mean, Bellama sold his uniques to like that means there's a buyer for these uniques.
To be fair, he probably sold them at like what it would in theory be a lower price than like what their super would be.
Which one was the one that I thought was?
He sold a Kimmich for like half an ETH, I think.
Yeah, that one was, and Musiala too.
The funny thing, Bellama had been selling his classic uniques because classic sucked so bad so that he could have money for in season when it started. And then he saw the announcement and Bellama was so pissed off by the announcement. I was like, holy fuck. I'm like, that's how you know it's bad. Bellama's like, yeah, I think I'm done. I'm like, fuck.
What was his, was it just didn't want to compete against super rares?
No, he just doesn't trust the team anymore.
Oh.
He just doesn't. He thinks that he thought the update was absolutely ridiculous and the merging of uniques to supers was so bad. And I just like think he just doesn't trust the team. I think they burnt all trust with a lot of users. And I think it's gonna be difficult to get it back.
Philly Dilly, it was 1.4639 ETH for Kimmich, Gnabry, and Upamecano uniques.
Yeah, so like, or maybe got like 0.8 for Kimmich. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, again, I do. Someone said earlier in the show, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I think the platform, and this could be part of it too, which I think you'll agree with. Someone said earlier they think they can replace the unique and super people with like the limited and rare people, which isn't true per se, but I think what this platform is just becoming is it's like just becoming a limited and rare in-season platform. And that's fine, but like if that's the case.
So the problem is that it's not fine. Well, the problem is that this idea of like, oh, we'll get rid of the unique and super rare people and fill them in with limited and rare. They need to fill them in with limited and rare and keep the super rare and unique people. Like
Correct.
they need everyone at every level to buy cards.
Yeah. And
they cannot survive by just selling limited and rares.
Correct. And that's what I don't think people understand. Which I've said for years is like, people always would bitch about the whales, but if the whales are gone, the platform dies anyways, because you need the whales to keep the prices up of other stuff. And if they're not interested, the other stuff's going to be so diluted, it's going to be so cheap that no one's going to play. But anyways, I think that it was pretty clear that they're making this platform like a super limited and rare, and that's it, in season type of platform. And from that perspective, I think all the unique and super, like, I think if you were a super rare and unique user and you like saw this update, you're just like, it's very clear they're shifting away from having any fucks given about me. And in that scenario, like, I can't justify investing funds into that. Like, I think Pranksy invested multiple $1 million last year, and I think he wouldn't invest much at all anymore. And when I think he would have invested multiple $1 million again had they not changed it. Same thing with Bellama. Bellama had like a good amount ready to go, and I think it's just he's done. And like, I'm similar. Like I had, I mean, much lower level, but I had 10 ETH ready to go for like this upcoming European season. I will not put $1 of that in.
Do you think there's an opportunity for people then to buy in-season super rares and uniques very cheaply since you guys are all leaving?
Maybe. I like, again, I would be concerned about the overall financial health of the company. Like, if you're not concerned about the overall financial health of the company at this point, like, I'm not saying like I'm not being like, oh, this going to roll up and die tomorrow. Like, I'm not saying that, but like, if with what we have seen this week, you aren't looking at things objectively and being like, yeah, there could be some financial health concerns about the company. Like, I don't know how to tell you, like, right? Like, you as a person, would you at least agree there is like some financial health concerns on the company as a whole after the last like week?
Well, I mean, Nicola like admitted that they aren't profitable.
Yeah, but it's not even like they're not profitable. It's like that they barely have funds remaining.
There's nothing that this update, there's nothing in this update that would make me think differently than what I've felt previously.
Yeah, but like, no, I disagree with that. That the French article has to add some.
If we already knew that they were not a profitable company, which means they literally spend more than they make. The gameplay announcement, there's nothing in the gameplay announcement where I'm like, man, they really need money. That was different than what I thought before.
Getting rid of
the new gameplay makes you think that it's like, oh, they really need the money.
Getting rid of the entire unique prize pool.
But we don't know that they did.
We do. The unique competitions no longer exist. Like, the super rare prize pool might be a little bit more, but like, they removed the unique prize pool entirely.
We don't. No. They may have just moved it to super rare.
Yeah, but
like, if they end up rewarding the same amount of money, then like, what about it?
So like last year, I think they're like, we're going to give $15 million out in prize this year.
Yeah, that's what they said.
We're going to give out $10 million in prize. Does that raise your concern levels?
Sure.
Okay.
But I've said that for months.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I guess to me, it's just like, well, I guess it just goes to the overall thing. Like, if you are not concerned, all right, let me rephrase this. Tuggy said this the other day in Discord, and I think it's, if this platform goes under in like a year and a half, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming, I think you're drunk. Like, if you're not looking at this objectively, like I think this company as a whole and this platform is a lot less safe than it was a year and a half ago. And like, if you are ignoring all the warning signs of like, oh, there could be trouble. I'm not saying there might not be. I'm not sure. But if you are ignoring all the signs of like, oh, there could be trouble, that's on you at this point going forward.
So I feel like you're combining two things that aren't necessarily related.
Maybe.
So you're more concerned about their financial viability now than you were last year.
Yes.
What has changed?
I mean, there's been articles and there's been clear like monetary related concerns to me.
What are the
SorareData going under is a concern to me because they could have bought it, they did not. That's a concern to me. Um, there's just some things that I would have concern, that at least like are possible concern levels.
So what is the difference? Like if you're thinking like purely from a financial standpoint, because that's what you have to think about. If you're like, they could be bankrupt. What is different this year than last year? Just an article that said that they don't have any money?
Oh, there was an article, SorareData existed last year. There was no signs of SorareData shutting down shop.
What does that have to do with Sorare's financial viability though?
I think it's pretty clear what it has to do with Sorare's financial viability.
Please teach me.
Like if SorareData thought that they could turn things around and become profitable again, I don't think SorareData shuts down shop.
Say that again. Sorry.
If SorareData thought that Sorare had a chance to become financially profitable and be a viable option, I think it's less likely they shut down shop. I also think that there is a possibility of like, I think it makes more sense to have bought SorareData or brought in SorareData's employees. And the fact they did not do that is also a bit concerning as well to me.
So it's really like the team decisions that are making you think that they're less financially viable.
I mean, yeah, I think that there are, I really don't trust the team. I think that
So that I think like you're absolutely entitled to that.
Yeah.
And obviously your trust in them now is lower than it was a year ago. Correct?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Lowest it's ever been.
So I'm just saying like you're using that to say that they don't have enough money to keep going.
No,
like,
I'm not saying
that's what I don't see the connection there.
No, SorareData shutting down to me is a bad financial sign.
Okay.
That's a bad financial sign. The article that came out the other day also is a bad financial sign. Them removing the unique division and the prize pools. I understand what we don't know, but I can believe that most likely they are removing the unique prize pools and merging it with Super Rare, and maybe it will be bigger than what Super Rare was last year, but not as big as them combined. That is a financial concern to me.
But that's also something we don't know right now.
Correct, but that's what I'm saying. Like I can't. Halligan asked, "Where's the article?" It was something like Nico responded to it, but like he's likely full of shit in it, and basically like the article was basically
like they have no money.
Yeah, the article is basically like they lost $120 million last year. They lost $40 million this year. They have like 30 million left in the bank. That's it, out of the 680 they were given a few years ago, which are like, people were blown away by that being a possibility. I'm like, I don't understand how you're blown away by that being a possibility, because the licenses sure as fuck were not cheap 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think people kind of ignore that. Like they only raise that much money in order to pay out the money to get the licenses.
Correct.
Like they're completely
people thought they like only raised that money to like pay for employees and shit, when like I would imagine 90% of the money was towards licenses for leagues and baseball and basketball and shit like that. Like,
and I'll continue to argue to my grave that they never raise nearly that much money if they stay a football only product.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I agree with that too. Like people will make I would bet you guys that the most expensive license they have had is probably the NBA. Because that was like prime boom. There were multiple competitors that we knew about that were involved in that. There's no way they didn't have to pay a shitload for that.
Yeah.
Now, have they renegotiated? I'm sure they have. But that doesn't mean that, like, let's say that first year they paid an absolute assload and then like negotiated it down to like 10%.
Well, Nico basically said that for years, that they've had to negotiate down everything.
So anyways, like I think that there's a pretty good chance that they definitely are in a financial spot. Now that said, I will actually say a positive about that article. Them losing $120 million last year and then them only losing $40 million this year type of thing, assuming it was like a full year thing.
Huge progress.
That's a lot of progress. Like it really is.
Do you know what the big difference was?
They renegotiate all the licenses down.
That's not it. In season to classic. Change the game.
No.
Now we all had to buy new cards.
If that was the case, then it would have shown success, and they wouldn't need to change it again, Laird.
Well, that is success, right? We lost 80
I mean,
million less.
it is success. Like it is very clearly they're moving in the right direction. But like likely what happened is they renegotiated licenses down, but now they're in a position where they need to go to profitability from there, which I definitely think they can do. Again, though, my concerns is I do not trust the team currently to make decisions that I think are realistic and reasonable.
That's fair.
And I think
I just wanted to make sure that was really the reason, because it's not. I feel like everyone's like, you can see the numbers, and it's like, what numbers are we seeing that
here's
now worse?
Here's the thing: like people read stuff and they just go with what's said. It's not always true. Like I remember, you can tell me if you remember the situation. I remember someone doing a stream once, basically announcing that they lost their job and were moving to like a Patreon thing. And people were like, oh my God, congrats, way to go. And then they found out that his previous company like was ending, and they like didn't pick up on it and they couldn't comprehend it. So like there are things that are like signs with stuff of like I said, SorareData deciding to shut down and Sorare not purchasing all of the stuff that SorareData had or like absorbing it is at least like concerning to me. Because I would think that like SorareData's employees would have moved over to Sorare, because I think at this point, everyone can sort of agree that they seem to be more talented at what they do than the Sorare team, right?
I think so.
So like all of that not happening is a kind of concerning thing to me in regards to it. So like I at least have some concerning things that are there. I'm not saying it's definitely not there. And like I said, I think that there's, based on the numbers we got in that article, it like they had clearly made progress year over year to reduce costs. And it is what it is. And like honestly, I'm done with like Andreas asked, why would they purchase it when they can imitate the most important parts for free? Because you don't need to buy it, but you could have hired the people that designed it that clearly did a better job at designing it than what you did and that what you've done. And then also, you say that, but they spent months on months developing all the features that they could have for free that were important, that are just still worse than what SorareData had.
Sorry, my camera is going nuts.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I don't know.
Again, look, I'm not, my point isn't to say like, oh, fuck, they're done. My point is to say, like, if you aren't looking at some of this stuff objectively and being like, put your hand like this, Laird. See if it works.
It's not like a focus thing, though.
Is it like an internet thing?
Maybe.
It seems like you're there. But like, if you're not, oh, there you go. That's clean. If you're not like looking at everything and at least having more concerns, I think, than you previously did, there, you're fine now. I think that there's at least like my point is more so like people need to just play within their means and don't be like stunned in a year and a half if the platform went under or something. Which I think you agree with.
I mean, nothing should be stunning at this point.
Dodgy said the SorareData guys have only done UI stuff. They didn't have to make comps or specials. I can tell you with certainty, the SorareData guys are more capable and competent at making specials and comps than the people at Sorare that we have seen up until now. Like I would put Laird in charge of that stuff and know that he would be more capable and competent than who they have on their staff currently. And that's not even like Laird's area of expertise or an area he would even want to be in at all. Correct, Laird?
In fairness, there was a SorareData employee who went there.
Yeah, but Erwan is definitely not in charge of gameplay. But Erwan would be better and more suited to it than the people that are on staff there.
I don't know. We don't know everything that they have to deal with in terms of gameplay.
We do not know everything that they have to do. We do know that I can feel confident in other people's abilities more so than their own, because I have seen what they come up with year in, year out, and then I know their lack of expertise in their own game. It all circles back to they just don't have expertise in their own game, which to me is a massive issue.
What if we're all just playing the game wrong and they're actually right?
Then they would be profitable and not like losing $680 million.
They didn't lose it. They spent it.
They did spend it. That's true.
We got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of.
I was pretty conservative with my my comments today, though.
There you go. PSU mic drop.
Like I'm confident in saying that I would be a more qualified person to design the game than them. Very confident.
You're a pretty confident guy overall, though.
I am a confident guy, but I'm confident that I would be a better game designer and be more capable of designing a game that makes sense than what they have done in previous years.
Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Dobbsy said SorareData employees are probably bigger fans of Sorare than Sorare staff. I don't think SorareData employees are probably big fans of Sorare anymore, but I would say that I would bet significant amounts of money that SorareData employees were more capable and competent people at doing whatever Sorare related stuff than the Sorare employees. And Mike Bass asked, would that be game for everyone? Yeah, I feel pretty confident I could design a gameplay that would make sense for everyone at every level.
Well, get to work.
Do I care about limited myself personally from a playing perspective? No, that's just not the level I'm playing at. But I'm pretty confident I could make a gameplay that limited users would be interested in more so than what they put out. And like Laird said, there are definite restrictions. Like maybe the restriction is we have no money, so we can't really give shit out. I have no idea. But I think that there is... I feel pretty confident with restrictions they have. If I had the same restrictions, I would come out with a more appealing platform.
Well, we look forward to that Medium post. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. For those of you who are here live, much appreciated that you have joined the Patreon so you could do so. For everyone who is watching this back, patreon.com/AndrewMLaird, and you can get stuff like this live. Check that out. Anyway, Sean, good to see you. Good luck on the, I was going to say on the gallery sale, but I don't know how you're going to find that with SD values. So we'll see. But anyway, thanks everyone. And remember to go outside.